Hey everybody, this is Rob John Webb here for a new tutorial with an old track doing something slightly different. So for example, you usually make tracks, you always start off with a DJ friendly beat. Now that's okay, that's good if you want to make straight out club tracks, but sometimes you just want to bring it down a little bit and make something a little bit more melodic and a little bit more interesting and a little bit more exciting. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through a remix I did about a year ago, and I've taken away the vocals, obviously because I didn't own those vocals, but I own the music because I completely rewrote the track. So what I was thinking about in this tutorial was I wanted to just do an intro that was exciting and was kind of reminiscent of the mid-80s sort of stuff, early to mid-80s stuff. So there's a lot of little synths in there, and there's a pad, and there's a lead line, and some drums and stuff. So what I've done is I've just created this little intro that is, that comes straight out of the 80s, but it was only made last year. And it's just all the little sounds that you'd get for an intro, and just to make the track, less predictable, so to speak. Here's the intro. And then it goes off into a flat bass, which is a bum 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 bum. But still, I just added that little arpeggio in there as well. I was improvising that, so if it sounds a little bit off time, it's because it was. I just put that in there as an extra. But basically, the intro, it's just got a kick and some claps, and it's just solo those beats, and it's just like a if I can solo the two together and go, it's almost like a breakbeat. And it's just a little clap with a lot of, like, taking the bottom end out, really. And it's got a lot of reverb on it, whereas the kick, it's got a bit of reverb too. So you can hear that kind of 80s sort of reverb in it. So I've just created a little kick drum that just goes like that, look. So it just goes. So that's that. And then it goes into the claps, and then you just drop the claps in there. So it's like a boom, 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 just a tiny kind of breakbeat. So you've got that as your intro drum, rather than a boom, boom, boom sort of thing, which is just really boring and predictable. A little crash in there. Nothing exciting. But what we've done is we've got all these little sounds at the bottom here. So the first one that I've used is called the intro bass, and it's just a simple, let me just solo it. And the track's in F-7 anyway, so it goes. So if we just solo that, you can see the notes on that. So there you go, we're going up to 2 octaves. So it's like a. Okay, so that's that. So there's your bass, and put the beat on. Just change the colour of that so you can see. No, it's better. That's better. And all it doesn't sound much on its own, but once you've put it together, so it's the F-7 chord, which is basically, in the G-7 chord, it's like. So it's just messing about with F, G sharp, C and D sharp, and then G, B flat, D and F. Like that. But then it doesn't sound great on its own. But then what we do is we put some pads in with the same chords. So we've got these pads down here. And before I move on to that, the bass sound that I've got here, the intro bass, that is a sound called the Juicy Bass, which comes from the free Tal Noisemaker synth, which is great. So that's where that comes from. And then what we do is we add some pads in from the Noisemaker again, and these are called the Dream of 86 pad. And these are just great, proper 80s sound, and it's just a lush, warm 2 chords. Put them together with the bass, and there you have your and your kick and your drum, and then the bass. And now they fit together. Put some wind chimes in there. Just give it that kind of magic vibe. So that's that bit. And then what you need to do is start adding some little tiny synth sounds and stuff. So basically, I've got this high-res BP pad from the OBX-D synth. And this sound is, let me just find it on here. And if we look at what we've done here, we've just got single notes here of the F. So, and it just plays like so. So we go down the bottom, and it's just expanding with that resonance on it. So it's quite eerie. So it's a low octave, it's like on F1. So you put that on with the chords that I've just done and the intro bass. And it just gives off that eeriness, but also it's got that kind of happy funk vibe. So just have like a low note in there that's just like, you know, really kind of creepy, which gives it that cool sort of vibe. And then we've got another little sound, from where I've got this from, and this is a little chord sound, again from the OBX, and it's a res brass sound. And I've just put in here some little stabs, like, where are they? Let's just get the right sound up. Here, look. And it's like a modulated sort of, you know, if you bend up the modulation, so you play the chord and just pitch bend your modulation, we'll just bend that. And that's just like for little stabs, so just stab the little chords in and just bring them in little by little. If you can see that I've done there, look, it just comes in a little bit like that, look. And there they are. Now, let's get rid of that a minute. So that's that bit. So that's just a little synth sound that you would bring in there just stab it in. You know, and do all sorts of kind of weird stuff. You could have it as a single sort of. You could do that with it, you know, do some sort of lead thing. But what we've done is I've put a separate lead and I've put a lead synth in, which again is from the Deputy 64, and it's called the Pathotathon, whichever that is. And this sound is just like a lead sound, but really thin, proper retro 70s sort of. But I've gone high up the octaves and just thrown little notes in like that, which just give it that kind of sort of like that. You see, little stabs again. But what you're doing is you're combining different sounds of similar style, thick ones, thin ones, and ones with modulation, thick squelchy basses, breakbeat kind of kicks. And look, I've just stabbed in the chords, and that's all I've done. You know, it's just like improvising, but on top of the pads, it's really effective. So let's have a go from the beginning. Look, just a little tiny kind of high-end riff. Put the bass on. Put your beat on. Wind chimes. And your little breakdown synths, and they just bring out the colour of it. So you've got that, and then you've got your obviously your low sound. So you've got your low sound, your high sound, your mid sounds with the modulation on, and then you've got your beats. And that last one there, I've took it to audio. I mean, I made this a while ago, so I can't remember what synth it came from. But it says the Tyrell synth on there. So it's something off a Tyrell. So it's probably a bass sound, and that goes like this. Look. And all that'll be will be a bass sound. So for example, let me just give you a demonstration. If I get the juice bass up, and all you do is just go down the keyboard like so, like this. You know, that's all you do. Obviously, that's a little bit of a different sound. It's not got the same sort of squelchy sound. Let's have a look at this one. Like that. You know, and you just come down the keys with it like that, you know, and that's all you do with that. So that's a little sound that takes us into the next part. So it goes like this, look. And then the kicks come in as normal. And that's when the track starts to build. And there I've just put in the stabs of the chord. It's just like a filtered up flat bass. And you just build the track. And there's that eerie bit again. Drops down. A few claps in there, a few delays. And then an arpeggio, which is here, which I played at the start. So that's the rest of the track, but as I say, focus on the intro. So all you need for a good intro to do something different with your track is just use the chords that you're playing with and just do them in different variations. So do them in little stabs and, you know, some high octaves, some down to the low. You know, and you just do lots of modulating and lots of pitch bending and that kind of thing, and use very similar sounds but in different frequencies. So thick ones, fat ones, thin ones, you know, and just put them together. But make sure you've got a bed under there, which are the chords, which are the pads. So they don't alter, they stay the same. So they're like the bedding of it. Your kick drums, your bedding of it. And then you just layer it with similar sounds. And then the bass just plays out like so. And you see I've done it with the bass here, look, where I've done it, where I've drawn it. There. So it's just one after the other, so it's brr, brr, like that. So that's it. That's how you make an intro. That's one way of making an intro. You make your track sound more, you know, exciting and different, a cut above the rest, so to speak. It's always good to do that on some tracks, particularly if you're making an album or an EP. You know, do something a little bit different rather than straight four to the floor tracks. So I hope you've taken from that. The synths I've used in there are all free. The Town Noisemaker, the Deputy, and the Tyrell. They're free synths. You know, you can get them for nothing for both Mac and PC. And don't forget that I also now offer one-to-one mentoring sessions. So go over to waxadis.com, check out the mentoring sessions that I do where I tailor-make courses specifically for you, with you, live online on the internet. So check that out and check the links out below. Thanks for watching and goodbye.